This is Art of Cycling, and I'm Craig. Welcome or welcome back, whichever it may be. Glad you're here. I'm trying to catch back up, so the race and other issues got kind of intense there for a bit, so I got behind posting these. So I will catch up and try to be back on schedule by the end of the tour. Speaking of the end of the tour, all the sprint stages are gone and sprinters are pulling out of the race rather quickly, although the two guys fighting for the green jersey are still here and still sprinting, albeit for minor points in the intermediate sprint. But what I find impressive, because even after suffering through the horrible mountain stages before the rest day, and then not having the sprint of his dreams in the what should be, almost definitely will be now that he broke the record, his final Tour de France, and that being his final sprint stage. I believe he finished, he being Mark Cavendish, finished 17th. Obviously, it would have been a great fairy tale ending for his Tour de France career. It already is. I mean, he came back. Nobody ever thought he'd race again. And I'll be honest, I didn't think he could do it. Also be honest, I didn't really want him to. But then, I've been an Eddie Merckx fan forever, so his record getting broke wasn't what I wanted to see happen. Actually got to meet the man himself when the World Championships were here in Richmond. Didn't do the photograph, didn't do any of that, just was thrilled to get to meet him. In fact, I had a friend, oh, if you'd stayed there for just 2 minutes longer, I could have got a picture of you. But that wasn't my intention. Just wanted to shake his hand and say, you're why I love this sport. He didn't really react, to be fair. But, you know, who am I? And this was at the closing party of the championships, hosted by Qatar. Is that right? Abu Dhabi. The city of Abu Dhabi, so I don't know. Not Qatar. Yeah, Qatar. Got close to getting to go to that and paint it live there too, through the auspices of my alma mater. Didn't quite pan out, but I call this off the back, but still here. And now normally on the back of these, but I won't do it right now, I write who everybody is and anything that's particular about what's happening. Like this rider. It's not uncommon because we're now into the climbing part of the stage for the spinners to pop off. And already 3 sprinters have left the stage, and I think 2 others didn't even start today. So it's a rough, and this is a slow climb from the start. So they've been going uphill since the stage started. But this is also a mountaintop finish, so credit to any of the riders who aren't climbers that are staying in it, because the next 2 days are mountain stage. Well, I think we have a quote-unquote hilly stage. Oops, got this poor guy's flesh. You just see how dejected he is. He's happy. He probably will have Mark and his teammate, I think C-Spool, to hang on to make the time cut again. But like the case in point, the day before the rest day was a severe mountain stage, and turned out to be the stage that kind of sealed the fate of the yellow jersey. But, kind of, there's still a chance it could change. Unlikely, but it could happen. But Mark Cavendish, shepherded by his teammates over these high, tough mountain climbs, just managed, I think, by a minute and a half to beat the time gap, or the cutoff. So I've been expecting him to leave the tour. He has gotten what he came for. There's little chance of getting any other glory. But if I remember correctly, with the exception of crashing out in 2 different tours, one that was a heartbreak because it was when the tour started in England, his home country, his Isle of Man, and this opening stage ended in London, and whoever won the stage would pull on the yellow jersey, and even his mom, who doesn't normally come to the race, had come to the stage in hopes of seeing a rather famous son pull on the rather famous jersey, and he crashed and broke his collarbone in the sprint, didn't even finish the stage. I think his tour ended before it even started. Just like one of his teammates this year. And then another year, he was in a pretty spectacular crash. Ugh. It was one of those like yesterday where don't want to paint this. Actually, no, and then last year he crashed out too. So, yeah. But what is it? So, out of 3 of the 14. But so, where I'm going with that is it's really impressive that he is fighting to stay in the race. We'll see if he can manage over the next 2 mountain stages. So again, using diagonal lines. So see, if you take out these two diagonal lines, this becomes a much more static painting. Also, if you don't put him in, it's a much more static painting. So your composition, now I am working with things that are there. It's not a total makey-uppy to oh, that's from the movie and play first off, and then movie Da, one of my favorites. But it still remains that you all can't see what I'm working from. And from the art history point of view, nobody will ever see what you paint it from. They will only see the painting. So make the painting work. So compositional elements and all of those things should make. But this is, my wife likes to talk about this. She's even added another part to it. But this is really, I am creating an historical record of the Tour de France. I am taking back for the artist what the photographers took from us. It used to always be that all historical events were recorded by artists. And not to diss photographers, they are certainly artists as well, and it's certainly an art form. But that art form, photography, took over the documentation of life. And so I feel like I have reclaimed some territory for the visual artists. And then these things are painted in real time. It's like this painting here, not my normal pattern, but I tweeted out how happy I was to see Gourmet successfully sprint against his green jersey rival. And so that was in a real time, and I already have some people going, oh my God, that was fast. It's like, these are, so what I'm painting now happened when I started painting it, 15 minutes maybe, at the most, prior to me starting to paint it. So it's very much in real time. And that's, now I don't get to share them that quickly because there's a whole process, and I like to paint them all before I share them for relatively obvious reasons. So they don't necessarily hit the internet quite so instantaneously, but it is a real-time documentation of real historical events, at least historical in the cycling world. So that's sort of the combination of what I'm doing here. It's like this sort of two-prong. One, clearly I'm making art, but also I'm making an historical record using artistic tools, traditional media of watercolor, and using those tell the story, but then I'm also using contemporary methodology, aka social media, to get that story out into the public. My wife is a much better crafter of word than I. I've often wondered, I mean, there are artists who speak very well, but I've often wondered, in fact, I've often claimed that I'm not good with words, and I'm not great, although I've gotten better, in social situations. So rather, it's part of the reason I became an artist, because I love to observe, see what's going on, follow, watch. And of course I joke, I've turned my voyeuristic tendencies into a career. Now this painting will eventually pop up later today. Well, actually, it'll be up by the time you see this on my blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com. There'll be a direct link to where you can see it on my website, gregleach.com, and where it will be for sale. So thank you all so much for watching. It's painting 103 of this year's tour. I was going to start doing this, but I'll stop. So thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like what you see. You can't see it, so I'll turn it back over. And I'd love to know what you think of this or the whole process of documenting the Tour de France. And I will be documenting these Olympics and the the Tour de France Femme in the coming weeks. But I'd love to know what you think. Thank you all.